bad.
Well, I'm joined now by two Pakistani journalists, Shahid Qureshi, who's the UK correspondent for the Frontier Post and a friend of Salim Shahzad, and in Washington by Huma Imtiaz, who's correspondent for the Pakistani news channel Express News. Let me start with you, Shahid. What kind of a journalist was Salim, and was he the kind of journalist who took quite big risks?
Well, he was a great journalist and a friend. I mean, I met him 3 years ago when I was visiting Pakistan, and he was always revealing and excited, very careful. And I think this is a opportunistic murder by some third parties who took the opportunity to eliminate this great journalist who was revealing and exposing the fundamentalists, the extremists within this society who were kind of bringing the whole society a bad name. And this is a journalist who was exposing the takfiri element in the Pakistani society, which can be counted in hundreds, not in thousands. And those takfiri elements were bringing a lot of pain and bombing and extremism towards Pakistan. And Salim Shahzad was one of the journalists who was exposing them.
Huma Imtiaz, in Washington, one of the last stories that he investigated was this attack last month on a Pakistani naval base. And he had been looking at whether there had been indeed some naval officers who were sympathetic to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Do you think it's this kind of story that actually cost him his life?
Well, it's still early days. I mean, no one knows really yet whether it was the security agencies that were involved in his murder, or whether it was elements from the Al-Qaeda who were not happy with his reporting. But at this point, all signals point towards that. And again, it's early days yet. But reporting on the military or reporting on Al-Qaeda has become extremely, extremely unsafe in Pakistan. Reporters in Pakistan face threats from various quarters, and being a journalist in Pakistan has become extremely unsafe.
There has been some suggestion by Pakistani editors that they should actually pull correspondence off this kind of story, that is simply too dangerous. I mean, how dangerous is that for Pakistani democracy, do you think?
Well, the democracy is suffering dangers from the politician itself, because the politicians in Pakistan are more dangerous towards democracy than the people of Pakistan, the way they are behaving. I'll take you back a few months ago when Wali Khan Babar was killed in Karachi. The Joint Investigation Team has arrested the killers. But the media is so scared in Pakistan because of the MQM party who was ruling in Karachi to name those killers because of the threats they are facing. And it's very fashionable at the moment in Pakistan to blame our military and ISI, because the politicians and certain elements in the government are kind of being sympathetic towards those elements who blame the ISI or criticize the military, because it's very easy.
That is easy to
do it.
Yeah.
But the third party taking opportunity out of Salim Shahzad was right.
Huma, just want to come back to you. I mean, you've been in Washington, I think, for a couple of months now, but when you were working in Pakistan before that, did you feel frightened? Did you feel that journalists were under threat?
Absolutely, because I mean, journalists are under threat from various quarters. When you go out to report on a story, you don't know whether you might be attacked by a terrorist, whether you might be caught in the middle of a bomb blast, whether you might be trailed by members of security agencies for what you report on. So the threats are from various quarters, and obviously there is this sense of fear that every journalist carries around with him or her in Pakistan. Despite that, many journalists are very bravely working towards reporting on these kind of stories. So the question really is, I mean, what is the government doing? What is the role of the government in protecting journalists and even the news organizations?
Imtiaz and Shahid Qureshi, thank you very much.